into your,
Okay, so today must be June 3rd, 2022, and on the agenda, a couple of things on the agenda for today is we're going to have a quick tip from Doug, and Alan is going to talk about his favorite photographer, and I had to tell him he couldn't use me. It didn't feel it was right, so he had to find someone else. And what else we got going on? Well, Mr. Foreman's here. Has anybody called the James Shin laptop expert since I posted that information?
but yet, I haven't yet, but I am.
Yeah, I based on some of the things you told me, I think it would be good for you and Alan. If you want to explore the possibility that those files are still there, just not recognized, he could recover them.
Okay.
Hello, Linda.
Hi,
Is Catherine coming with us?
I'm checking to see if I got any notice from Catherine. I'm hoping she's joining us.
She's usually here by now. I see you're still in the hotel.
It's gonna be a little while.
Yeah.
Did you lose anything, any valuables, personal items and stuff, or was it just mostly your apartment that got damaged?
Well, some items were directly in contact with the water, you know. I haven't done an assessment yet, but a lot of my stuff seems like it escaped that.
Well, that's good.
But the first day though, I brought a blanket that was, you know, across my bed, you know, over here, and noticed the smell in it. And so my main concern would be, I mean, I didn't know anything about spores. My main concern is, you know, what's the smell that's in my stuff.
Oh,
But
okay.
And
They have-
mold.
That's the concern. There was mold there, and they are reconstructing, you know, taking out the drywall around the edges of the room and all this stuff. You know, they're gonna, you know, make that their part livable, I guess. But it's all my stuff, and they've moved my stuff from out of one room into the other two rooms. And it's all been discombobulated. So I really
Oh,
haven't
that's
had a
good.
chance to make an assessment of what,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. I'm kind of clueless on what to do, and I'm just waiting until they finish doing what they're doing, and then I'll go from there.
Did you have renter's insurance?
Yes, I do. That they're covering the hotel here. Yeah.
Okay, well, if Catherine comes on, we'll ask her if she has anything. Do you have any announcements, Linda?
I don't have any announcements yet.
Okay, I have one announcement, and as I told you Wednesday, I had went to visit Lonnie.
Okay,
And when I
Catherine will be
did-
on short.
Huh?
She'll be on shortly. Her Wi-Fi was off. Okay.
Okay. I had visited Lonnie, but, and he was in a good mood, and I happened to be there when they did the ultrasound on his heart, and it looked like they had a plan. Well, I talked to Lisa this morning, and she was, and I can understand why she didn't feel like talking. She says, it's not a good time. Lonnie is home. They decided they could not operate on his heart,
Mm.
and he's had a stroke since then.
Yeah.
So that's not a good sign. It's a catch-22. They need to operate on his heart because there's something in there that's a clot or something that needs to be removed that's causing the strokes. But because he's having strokes, he's on blood thinner, and they can't operate on his heart because he will bleed out if they start working on him. So I could tell that she was not very happy, and I understand that. So I'm going to wait a few more days before I talk to her again, or Amy may talk to her. I talked to Amy about it. But that's the story on Lonnie. Jesse is still doing well with his chemotherapy. I actually talked to him with FaceTime. Actually, he wanted to be on FaceTime because I happened to call him in the evening, and he just gotten home from a ceremony in Barbara. Is it Cerritos? What's the suburb that he lives in? Is it Cerritos?
La Habra.
Oh, La Habra. They had a ceremony. He was selected as Veteran of the Year
Oh,
for La Habra, and so he had on his beret and all dressed up, and Alice was there. So he was telling me all about that. So the
we had a big,
chemotherapy, he is a little bit tired from the chemotherapy, but
yeah.
it's really not knocking him down that much. So,
Great.
yeah, so go
We
ahead.
had 2 graduations, one night after another. Well, I wonder if it was at one of the graduations.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Hi, Catherine.
Hello.
Thank you for dropping by. Do you have any announcements before?
No, I don't.
All right. Well, let's, Doug, why don't you do your quick tip, and then we'll go to Alan.
Okay, let me share my screen here. As we've done over the last several weeks, we're trying to come up with some pretty short share sound, optimize for video clips. Okay, share.
Yeah, I have a couple in the bank to use when I'm back in the country.
This particular quick tip has to do with straightening your images up in using Lightroom. And a fairly quick way to do it.
Fantastic.
Hey guys, this is Anthony Morganti from AnthonyMorganti.com. This is episode 118 of Lightroom Quick Tips. In this episode, I'm going to show you a quick and easy way you could straighten your image. Now, I got to qualify this by saying it's not the easiest way. I mean, you could go into the crop tool and hit auto, and that's pretty easy. Or if you prefer, you could go to the transform tab and either hit auto or hit level, and that's very easy. But what I found when I do straightening either of those 2 methods, sometimes it just doesn't get it right. Sometimes the image is still crooked. So I prefer to use the level tool. And if you're like me, you often will have thousands of images after a shoot. And if, again, you're like me, you prefer not to spend a lot of time behind your computer. So when I process images, I really want to get in and out. I want to get it done, and I don't want to wallow behind my computer all night doing this. So this method works pretty well, and this is particularly true for those of you that like to use the level tool. Now, the way I would do it, if I have particularly a bunch of images, is I use some keyboard shortcuts, and there's really only 2. So I have an image here, and it needs to be straightened. I hit the R key on my keyboard, and that opens up the crop tool. Then I hold the command key in. Now that's because I have a Mac. If you had a PC, you would hold the control key in. You could see it turns the tool automatically into your level. So then I could come across here and I could find something that's either perfectly horizontal or perfectly vertical. Of course, in this image, we have the horizon. So I'll just draw a line across the horizon. It straightens the image. Then I'll go to the next image, and I'll hold the command key in again. Again, if you have a PC, you'd hold the control key in and draw across your image, and hopefully it straightens it. Now, forgive me if they're not perfectly straight because it's hard for me to talk and do this at the same time. Now, in this third image again, I hold the command key in and I draw across this water horizon, straighten that image. When we're done, we hit the R key again to close the crop tool, and it will have, hopefully, have straight images all across. And you could see, I'll open that, you could see it cropped it straight. And that's it. This is that little trick. When you're in a hurry, hit the R key to open the crop tool, then hold either the Control or Command key in. Control if you have a PC, Command if you have a Mac, and it will turn the tool into the level tool. And you could quickly come across and straighten your images. That's it for episode. Everyone that watches my video.
Hey, Anthony has a lot. He's a good guy to follow on YouTube. Anthony Doug, how do you pronounce his last name?
Morganzi, I think.
Morgani, yeah. That's a good quick tip. You can also do it just by clicking on the level thing. I have found that half the time, I think I'm right there, and if you're slightly off that level, you get the crop tool instead. So that with the keyboard shortcut is kind of a neat thing to know. So, are you ready, Alan?
Yep.
Let's see here. Yep. Well, while he's doing that, I think this came up last time. When you're leveling like the horizon, that's pretty obvious what to choose. If you have a photo with a lot of horizontal and vertical elements, it's always best, usually, to use the vertical element. That's how the way your eye looks at the picture. You understand what I mean? That's okay.
Vertical instead of horizontal.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let me start off when a person says something is their favorite, there's obviously a reason for that. So I want to go into kind of a background of why this person is my favorite photographer. When I was in the Army, I was fortunate that before I got out, I was able to take the Army School of Photography. They allowed me to do that the last 10, 12 weeks in the service. So had the elements of photography and how to do the things. What I needed to develop was my creative side. And how I did that is that I looked at photographs, all kinds of photographs. I would go and purchase annual magazines with just populated with photographs. Here's one from 1969, 1971, 1972. There was two main magazines for photography. There was Modern Photography and Popular Photography. So these were the two magazines that generally put out these annual supplements of just all pictures type thing. And this one here listed, it had portfolios from 32 great photographers. Now, let's see some of those photographers and how many that you might recognize. Of course, number one is Ansel Adams. I'm sure most people recognize that name, but Henri Cartier-Bresson, Alfred Eisenstadt, Ernest Haas, Hero, Philip Jones Griffiths, J. Mizell, Elliot Porter, W. Eugene Smith, Bert Stern, Eugene Cunningham, Imogene Cunningham, uh, Pete Turner, Burke Uzel. So hopefully you recognize at least a few of those names, because these are photographers that when photography was really getting started, these are the people that became well known for their photography. And I thought, if I look and see what famous photographers have out there that people like, that will help me develop my creative side. So with that as a background, I started from there, and I would also look at any kind of photography contest that I found and see what the winners were. Now, my favorite photographer is David Munch. It's spelled M-U-E-N-C-H. And there's actually 3 different Munches. The first one was Joseph Munch. And he was born in Germany in 1904, came to the United States in 1928 and settled in California. He got a 4x5 camera and went to Monument Valley, which is on the Arizona-Utah border. And he just fell in love with that place. And he visited there over 350 times to photograph it. He met with an editor of Arizona Highways. And if you don't recognize that name, Arizona Highways is a magazine that's been put out since, well, the 30s. It was the first magazine to have full color photography for every page back in the 40s, middle 40s. And so I would pick up copies of Arizona Highways. This one's dated July 1980. And I would look at the photographs and try and see which ones I liked and who the person was that did that photograph. So you can see that. This is a picture of Oatman, Arizona, and it was done by David Munch. The third person of that trio is Mark Munch, and it's spelled M-A-R-C. So first came Joseph, and Joseph died in age 94 in 1998. David is his son, and Mark is the son of David. So there's 3 generations there that have all picked up photography and all done quite well. Joseph was involved with Arizona Highways for over 50 years. And Arizona Highways is a good website to go, arizonahighways.com. You can go there and see a lot of photography. If you want to take a photography workshop, they have all kinds of workshops listed there. They're not cheap, but if you really want to go someplace and learn photography, it's an option. This, and you can't see that very good, but this was another photograph, and this was done by David Munch. This photograph was done by Joseph, the father. So you get an idea. They've been around for a long time. I like to read something that Joseph wrote and appeared in Arizona Highways back in the middle 40s. Let's see if I can pronounce this properly. Shirakawa. It's a national monument. It says, 1,000 curses. There I stood in the heart of wonderland of rocks, 5 miles by trail from any human habitation. The mellow light of mid-afternoon at its finest for photography, and the lousy film pulled loose inside my camera. What to do? The annoying exposed film contained all the results of a perfect morning's take of pictures of Bonita Canyon at spectacular Masai Point and along the upper Rhyolite Canyon Trail. My one remaining exposed roll was to record the weird forms and fantastic stone figures of the heart of rocks carved by nature's twin tools. Time and erosion from massive, anyways, it goes on. And so he was trying to figure out how to fix his film. So what he did, he said, there was no place to go to take the film out of his camera, being away from everything. He says, perhaps my film and filter box would help. Searching about, I selected a cavity beneath a massive boulder, pushed the box into the opening, and placed the offending camera inside. And then, glancing about to be sure that I was unobserved, removed my trousers and tucked them around the opening. By careful manipulation, I was able to insert my arms through the trouser legs into the makeshift changing bag, and in the cramped and doubtfully exposed position, rewound the film and tucked it into the cylindrical container. Believe it or not, the processing indicated that it turned out all right, except for 2 exposures. So I thought, wow, what a thing that we don't have to deal with today, is to have a film that goes wrong, gets underexposed or whatever. Dealing with digital photography, you just don't have to deal with that these days. So next comes David Munch. When David was a young child, he went with his father, Joseph, and went with him in his picture taking days. So at the age of 10, he received his first camera. And he says, I made my first photographs as a teenager in the late 50s and had my first photographs published as front and back covers of Arizona Highways when I was still in high school. There was never any question of my career. My education in photography and art, both at the Rochester Institute of Technology in Rochester, New York, and Los Angeles Art Center School of Design, provided me with formality of a degree in photography and an understanding of the technology of the time. So he's been doing this a long time. I was given back in 1973 a nice big book of photographs. This is done by Ray Atkinson and David Munch. And this is what I call a book that's a put on your table for people to open and see. I mean, nice big photographs. Anyways, it's hard to show over here. So I have this book. California 2 book. And here's one on Arizona.
Wow.
Uh, Wonderfully large pictures. So having this person, I noticed in Arizona, his name was all over a lot of these pictures. And that's how I became interested in his photography. He does all landscape. So let's see. All right. Let's go to share. I'm trying to set up a share screen here.
Did you click on the, there you go. Yep.
Okay,
Got it. You got it. Okay.
okay. So back in 2011, I happened to see that there was a photography workshop put on by Richard Dotson and David Munch. It was based out of Bishop, California. And I said, I have to do this. So it was a Thursday evening through Sunday. And it was only 10 or 12 people for the whole weekend. It was a little expensive at the time and I didn't have a whole lot of money, but I said, I have to do this. So,
Wow.
bear with me here. Okay. All
Why
right.
don't you click on the upper right, the little square boxes to make it full screen? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Not the X, just before the X. Up, right there. Click on that.
No, the lower
Okay.
right inside. Go
Bear
up.
with me. Okay.
Okay. All right.
So this is a video put together by the younger Mark Munch, and this describes how they do their classes.
There you go. You got it. Oh, is there audio involved?
Do you hear anything?
No,
No. You probably have to come back out and share screen again and allow audio. Is there, was there someplace?
Say that again.
You probably have to unshare and come back out and do it again, but this time when you click on share screen, there might be something that says allow audio. Stop sharing and then come back in and share again.
Okay.
Go ahead and
I
share
don't-
screen again. Just
I
click on,
don't see it. Oh, go ahead.
go ahead and click on share screen again. Down at the bottom, the green box.
And then the
Okay.
bottom left of that next screen that comes up will be video, sound, or sound for the video.
Okay, share sound.
There you go.
There you go.
Oh, everything's better. There you go.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Look at that light. This is what landscape photography is about. You can learn all the technique you want, but when it comes down to it, put the camera in program and photograph this. But the most important thing about landscape photography is you have to get here and be here at the right time to experience this light. Because if you don't have the first-hand knowledge of how good it can be, then you're not going to have the guidance and the focus when you go to post-process all those pictures. I'm going to teach you techniques of how to do it because the camera cannot capture exactly what we see and especially what we feel. But that, in the end, is the magic of photography.
In this seminar, I'm going to talk about finding your eye, the creative trinity, the technical trinity, and the vocabulary of composition. In addition, after lunch, I'll be teaching you how I utilize Adobe Lightroom for my post-processing. During the morning, I will present practical ways in which you can begin improving your landscape photography by considering things such as personal favorite subjects and/or locations. I'll be presenting examples of what influenced my career choices and how that impacted the way I see the natural world. I'll present to you what I call the creative trinity and how it helps me break down the landscape into elements that I wish to enhance, show, or sometimes simply portray. And of course, I'll be teaching ways to improve your camera techniques catered to landscape photography. I'll present the technical trinity: aperture, shutter speed, and ISO, which helps break down the options every photographer must make to capture exactly what they wish. My lessons will help you understand just how simple photography can be, and when the technical decisions become simpler, then you have more time to focus on the creative aspects. I love to talk composition, and in the hopes of making it real rather than subjective, I have created the vocabulary of composition, which I will demonstrate and teach. There are many great and simple ways to enhance your vision when considering these compositional elements. In the second half of the day, I'll teach post-processing, and specifically how I utilize Lightroom to make my workflow as efficiently as possible. Processing is always a challenge, even when you're experienced. There's always a combination of what you want to know and what you should know. I'm going to teach you what you need to know in order to get to the point where you can make your very own creative decisions about how you want viewers to see your images. Specifically, I'll be teaching you how I import both in my studio and while I'm on the road traveling, and utilize the power of DNG files so I can get all that information from my travel computer back to my office computer as efficiently as possible. You'll learn how to keyword, create your own custom user presets and collections. I'll be showing you how to use the develop module, and in particular the tone curve combined with the 3 filters: graduated filter, radial filter, and adjustment brush. All these things and combined with some fun stuff to show you how creative you can be in Lightroom. I'm thrilled to be visiting all of you this coming November at the Nature Visions Photography Expo and look forward to seeing you soon.
Okay. Right. So this is David Munch and his wife, and he's like 85 or 86 currently. I don't think he's really working anymore, but just wanted to show you a picture of what he's like. Um, okay, so Okay. So let's look at some of his work. These are all different portfolios of different places that he's taken pictures.
Wow.
So let's go to Monument Valley.
Mm.
Okay. And these were taken over the years. It says at the bottom when it was produced, like this is 2005, 1958. (1967),
Mm.
98,
My goodness.
Mhm.
So he uses light very well. He understands and how to use that to enhance his photographs.
Mhm. Jeez.
And he's produced, I believe, something in the order of 60 books of photographs.
Beautiful work.
Okay. Let's go. Let's see. I know that Doug enjoys going to Zion, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
So here's his photographs from Zion.
My God. Beautiful.
And one of the things you should remember is that many of these, especially like this is 1976. This was before Lightroom and before digital. So with film, what you see is what you get or what you take. Uh, and he couldn't adjust them like we can today in Lightroom.
Nice.
You recognize any of these areas? Doug?
Very much so, yes.
Beautiful.
Okay, so looking at this list, is there any particular place that you'd like to see pictures from?
I would like to see Joshua Tree because I've taken a fair amount of pictures there. I'm kind of inspired. I was just thinking, I think for this next week, I'm going to post some of my Joshua Tree pictures. Maybe I won't after I see this.
Wow.
Um,
Click.
There you
there
go.
we go.
Gosh.
Wow.
I saw a listing that one photographer put together of the most influential nature photographers. And of course, Ansel Adam was #1 on the list. But David Munch was listed as #5.
Oh, that's beautiful. Look at the sun back there. And, oh,
One of the things that David was good at was taking something in the foreground and adding to it something far away and to make it a complete picture.
oh my gosh. Mm.
Okay. All right. Any other suggestions of from this list?
Wow. Lots to choose from. But all this is online,
Yes.
and that's wonderful. He has a lot of stuff online.
Rainforest of the Pacific.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Mm.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm pretty sure you can buy any of these prints, if you wanted to.
Yeah, they're about $4,000 or $5,000 each. I'm serious. I saw the price listing.
Uh-huh. Yeah, if you want anything of any size, yeah, it's going to be expensive.
Wow.
My black and white. I'm into that.
Oh,
That's
beautiful.
why I clicked on it. When I was in the Army, I was stationed at Fort Monmouth, New Jersey, where they taught photography. And they had a photo lab there, and I got to work part-time and utilize the lab anytime I wanted to. So I learned how to develop and print my own black and whites. This is one of the bristlecone pines in Central California. They are the oldest trees in the world. Not everybody knows where they are because they don't want them vandalized or anything like that. But he's been visiting them over the years a lot.
So it's just natural light, just light, time of day.
Yeah.
Amazing.
When I went on that with that I can't think of the name of the word. When I visited him up at Bishop and we went on the weekend, what we did is we would go out, we would get up very early in the morning before dawn, go out to like the Alabama hills where Mount Whitney is, and we'd photograph the sunrise. We'd come back, he would critique our photographs, 2 or 3 of them up from each of us. Then in the afternoon, we might go to some place where we can get the sunset, White Mountains. So we got, and I learned how to, my first exposure to Lightroom was through him.
How about Alaska?
Okay.
Is that? Jeez.
Just the color is amazing.
Yeah.
1992.
Uh-huh. He's photographed all over the world.
It would be nice to know what kind of film he was using.
Well, let's see, 92, well, probably film.
Mm-hmm.
When did digital actually come into play? What year do you think?
Probably.
Late 80s, mid 80s. As far as the first digital cameras.
Well, yeah, but when did it really become more used type thing?
Starting in the 90s.
Okay,
The first digital camera was 1990. In the 90s, yeah.
uh-huh. So these Alaska pictures are all, looks like they're 90s, early
Mhm.
90s.
Mhm.
And of course, when you're working with film, you don't have the ability to go into Lightroom and
Yeah,
like we do
many of
today.
those were 4x5 negative
Yes,
images, which would mean there'd be no digital developing at all.
Right.
bear with me a second here. Okay. This is comments from him. I was lucky. I entered the field of landscape photography when it was still new, yet it remains new for me. I put away temporarily my Lindhoff Technica 4x5, Leica Flex 35mm, and Canon 35mm film cameras, and since 2007 have made the leap to a slow learning curve with digital photography. I am excited by the freedom that I am finding in digital cameras as I continue my personal journey in the American landscape. Every photograph is a journey, an exploration in seeing. I continue to photograph the inspiring beauty and extraordinary power of the American West, with an occasional forays into the wild, ancient beauty of America's East, and in recent years, with numerous journeys to Patagonia, Peru, Antarctica, Africa, New Zealand, Iceland. Yet, the American landscape remains prime for me, the landscape most thoroughly mine. In photographing the landscape of Lewis and Clark expedition on assignment for the National Park Service, I captured the pristine heart of America through which the expedition traveled on its journey to the Pacific. Today, 33 15-foot high panels ranging from 5 feet to 35 feet long hang in a permanent collection on the Jefferson Expansion Memorial under the arch in St. Louis. Our national parks are an enduring endeavor for me, a homeland and a passion, but making photographs anywhere is always a total and passionate involvement.
Wow.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm so glad he captured all that.
Yeah, he talks about the fact that he took pictures of things that have changed and are no longer there because of changes from everything from either developers or natural things that occurred. For instance, Mount St. Helens. He took before and after pictures after of that.
Wow.
Look at that.
You know, things have changed over time.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Alan. I'm going to be doing some exploring because on his photographs, I think they're very inspiring.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I believe he also has a YouTube channel or one of the Munches does.
I know Mark does,
Okay.
and Mark offers workshops, going to specific areas, just like I did with his father, David. And they, for either like a long weekend, or sometimes if it's far away, maybe a 7-day trip, and can be expensive to do that, but you get the one-on-one training.
Mhm.
To me, it was a lifetime experience, just being able to talk to him and show him my photographs and retreats and stuff like that.
Do you still have your photographs that he asked you to take and then?
Unfortunately, no.
Oh,
I had a Canon 6D camera, and I went to Catalina Island. I took a zip line trip, and I had my camera around my neck, and I took a picture, and I had to drop the camera on the strap so I could grab a hold of the control bars. When I got to the next platform, someone said to me, "We saw something drop. What was that?"
oh
I
no.
looked down and my camera was gone.
Oh my God.
I believe those pictures were on that camera and I never recovered it.
And you never had them developed?
Well, it was digital,
Oh,
and I had a card in there with a lot of pictures on it that are lost.
Yeah, there are his prices. 2,000
oh, 16 by 20, that's pretty big.
or $1,000.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, that's pretty expensive though for a 16 by 20.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Any other place on the list you would care to see?
I think I'm going to explore some on my own. I've really enjoyed Mongolia, and I see he's got pictures from Mongolia, one of my favorite places that I've been. So I'd like to
Okay.
see what his pictures look like. I think I'm going to be looking at the places we've crossed paths,
Uh-huh.
mhm.
so to speak.
So the website is davidmunchphotography.com.
Okay.
This is wonderful.
Yeah,
And to-
that was really something.
And to get to this, you click on portfolios.
Thank you, Alan. This is great.
Yeah.
Good find, Alan. Thanks for bringing it.
Okay. So this is the main page on his website.
Oh,
Wow, wow.
Nice pictures.
yeah, that's for sure.
Okay, it's 4:03. I'm going to go back to. Is everybody only seeing one picture, or are you seeing all of them? One person?
Damn, I've got
I'm
speaker.
seeing everybody.
Yeah,
Everybody here.
we're
Everybody's
back to everybody.
All right.
Alan, those were beautiful. That was
Thank
great.
you. Thank
Good
you.
Stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, thanks, Alan.
Okay.
I don't know, I originally had this idea, but I like this idea of finding, like what you did here. We should do that every so often, feature some photographer like this.
Okay. To me, it's a way of looking at somebody who's very creative to see how they do things so that you can learn from that.
I wonder who Mr. Foreman's been studying. He's posted some incredible pictures the last couple of weeks. What do you,
I don't know. I just thought to do different angles. I've been shooting low lately. Holding the camera down almost to the ground and shooting. Just
Those
trying to
are
come
better.
up with something different.
yeah, those in the garden were really good.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, trying something different because I go there a lot. I got to do something different, with the same object. So yeah.
All right, it's 4:05. I won't be with you. I'm really sorry I won't be with you next week. I'm going to be stuck on the Cayman Islands.
Darn. What a shame.
So I'll be back a week from Wednesday. We get back on Tuesday night at midnight.
Oh,
Okay,
Bring us
will somebody
sunset.
else be doing the
Yeah,
videos?
Yeah.
well,
Have sunsets and rises.
Catherine, I think, is going to do the hosting. Is that right, Catherine?
yes.
And
So you'll have a new Zoom?
Yes. It'll be, Linda will send the link. It will say Bob's phone. So if you see Bob's phone, you know you're in the right place, even though it doesn't make sense.
Okay.
and
All right, so
oh,
this time you'll have to use the link that we send out.
okay.
and what's the challenge for this week?
Challenge is to list where you found the picture, where you have the picture stored that you're posting.
Okay.
Okay. I think we could have a supplemental to that. Yeah, where you found it, how you organized, but make it a landscape. Find your
Oh.
landscape.
Good idea.
Okay.
All right, it's 4:07. I don't know where my kids are, so I'm gonna go.
Thank you again, Alan. That was a great.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot,
That
Alex.
was-
great
Okay,
pictures.
And enjoy next week without me. So
Oh,
Okay,
We
Bye.
will.
take lots of pictures.
bye.
yeah.
I'll be taking a few pictures, that's for sure.
All right. Okay. All right. Take care.
Bye.